Good evening, I'm Leonardo Puglisi. This is 6 News. Tonight, a corruption bombshell. Adam Somyurek sacked following the release of secret recordings, the Premier lashing out at the now former minister.
There is no place in my government for him. There is no place in my team for him. And that is what I informed him this morning.
Also tonight, an iconic bell tower taken down after fears it could fall due to major rotting. Violence on the streets of London, but it's this photo taken in the middle of it that has everyone talking. Parts of Beijing re-enter lockdown as fears about a second wave of coronavirus grow around the world. And Australia 108, the new multiplex that is now the tallest building in the entire southern hemisphere. 6 News starts now. Thanks for joining us. We begin with the corruption bombshell that has rocked Spring Street. Victorian Labor Minister Adam Somyurek sacked following the release of secret recordings as part of a special investigation between Channel 9's 60 Minutes and The Age newspaper. These are just some of those recordings. Take a listen.
I'm the minister. I'm the most powerful man.
I'm gonna knock her head off. She's a psycho.
Now, Premier Daniel Andrews was swift to make a decision about Mr Somyurek, speaking to the media only hours after the story made headlines across Australia.
I also want to be very clear with you that I now regard Mr Somyurek as no longer a member of the Victorian Parliamentary Labor Party, no longer a member of my team, my caucus, my government. I have also asked the Attorney-General to refer all of these matters as canvassed last night on the television and in various newspaper reports today, to both Victoria Police and to IBAC. And the Attorney-General has written in those terms. Those referrals have been made.
And senior reporter Darby Travers joins me now live from our Canberra bureau. Darby, good evening to you. What was the response from the federal Labor leader Anthony Albanese?
Yeah, good evening, Leo. Mr Albanese was swift in making his position clear, taking immediate action to suspend Adam Somyurek from the Labor Party. This is some of what he had to say.
I had a discussion with the Premier, Daniel Andrews, last night, a couple of discussions, and again this morning, where I agreed with his position that he intended to seek and to remove the commission of former Minister Somyurek this morning, and that he would write to the National Secretary of the Labor Party to seek Adam Somyurek's expulsion from the party with my support. The Labor Party will be a better party with the removal of this individual.
Anthony Albanese speaking there, and former Labor Senator Sam Dastyari also weighed in with his thoughts, speaking to Ticker Jumpstart about the allegations. Take a look.
They kept this thing so tight. I thought it was just going to be a generic, problems with the Labor Party as it relates to branch stacking. I had no idea, and no one did, that they had tapes. I mean, that is explosive. How they got the tapes is a whole nother story, which I don't know the answer to, but they were filming inside a Federal Member of Parliament's office, which obviously had to be done at someone's consent. These kind of secret recordings.
So Leo, still a lot of fallout coming from this. The Assistant Treasurer resigned, and then the Consumer Affairs Minister, and of course there's a potential for an investigation from the AIO and the AFP.
Yes, some really shocking allegations there. And Darby, an Australian man has been sentenced to death in China. Can you tell us a bit about this?
Yeah, Leo, Carm Gillespie has been sentenced to death in China. Now, he's been detained there since 2013, when he was allegedly found with several kilograms of methamphetamine. And there's been a lot of speculation surrounding this case. Some people saying Mr Gillespie was set up, but his family have now released a statement asking for privacy, and the PM has now spoken about the situation. Scott Morrison saying he is sad and concerned that the Australian citizen has been sentenced to death. Back to you, mate.
Okay, Darby Travers in our Canberra Bureau. Darby, thank you. The iconic bell tower at Hawthorn West Primary School has been removed due to major rotting. The building was evacuated only minutes after it was discovered, with the top portion of the bell tower being removed just before 9 p.m. the same night. Many students were shocked when they went to school the next morning, as the iconic structure, which had sat on top of the school for more than 100 years, sat on the ground. State member for Hawthorn, John Kennedy, spoke to 6 News exclusively, saying he was impressed with the fast response time from the school and the Burundara Council.
Yeah, I am really. I mean, it's a lovely school, and of course it's got plenty of history attached to it. You know, with the Hawthorn West Honour Avenue and what have you, and it's a great little place, as you would know, because you went there, sort of thing. It's a lovely community, and that tower is so much like a symbol, isn't it, of its history, really.
Overseas now, and violence has erupted on the streets of London as Black Lives Matter protesters clashed with far-right groups and police. But it was this photo that got everyone talking. Patrick Hutchinson carrying an injured man away from the crowd. It turns out that man was a former police officer. Since those clashes, Scotland Yard has released 35 images of people wanted over a violent disorder during the mostly peaceful rallies. There are fears tonight of a second wave of coronavirus around the world as parts of Beijing re-enter lockdown after more than 50 people tested positive at a wet market. The question now is, are we easing restrictions too soon? Currently there are over 8 million cases worldwide, and in the US, almost all the states still have rising cases. In New Zealand, 2 new cases were confirmed after they had reopened their borders, and in Victoria and New South Wales, several schools also had positive cases. You can tell us what you think on our social pages at 6 News AU. Statues have been destroyed across the world, and now the destruction has made its way to Australia. Reporter JARRAD Taylor has the details.
Police surrounded a statue of Captain James Cook in a Sydney park as police dispersed protesters not following the coronavirus regulations and rules. Police are now starting to patrol the park due to violence in the area and possible damage to the very iconic statue. 6 News will obtain more info from the New South Wales Police as it arises, and New South Wales Police say that it is a valued asset of the City of Sydney.
JARRAD Taylor there, and we're going to take a quick break now, but coming up next on 6 News, we'll take a look at what's trending online. Plus, we'll show you the results of our Twitter poll. Do you agree with the cancellation of Cops and Live PD? Also, Australia 108, the new multiplex that is now the tallest building in the entire Southern Hemisphere. And they called them too old, but the Hawks still defeated Richmond at the MCG. We'll show you the highlights. Stay with us.
Streaming across the globe, Ben Norris, Rob McKnight, and David Robinson.
Ben, Robbo. News, reviews, entertainment news. It's the Ben, Robbo. Ben, Robbo Show. Ben, Robbo Show.
The Ben, Rob and Robbo Show, Monday to Thursday at 1 p.m, right here on Ticker TV.
Welcome back. That was the theme song from the iconic show Cops, which has recently been pulled off the air. In the minute, we'll show you the results of our Twitter poll, asking you if it was the right choice. But first, it's time to take a look at what's trending online. And exposed Bill Gates was trending on Twitter numerous times during the week as conspiracy theorist groups blamed Gates for the spread of coronavirus and claimed he wanted to reduce the human population. Dear me, you can share our thoughts on that on all our social pages at 6 News AU. Now to our Twitter poll, and 88% of you say you do not agree with the cancellation of Cops and Live PD. 12% of you say you do. The shows were pulled off the air due to mounting pressure following protests about police violence. Both of those shows have been accused of glorifying police brutality and excessive force. Now, both of those shows, they're not set to come back, and many networks are also pulling reruns of them. In some developing news now, an unarmed police officer has been shot dead in the New Zealand city of Auckland while carrying out a routine traffic stop. Reports say the officer was one of two shot when they stopped a car, the first to be killed in the line of duty in the country since 2009. Changing pace now in Australia, 108 is now the tallest building in the entire southern hemisphere, overtaking Melbourne's iconic Eureka Tower. This is what it looks like from the ground. Pretty impressive, and it's set to be completed in the next few weeks. Right now, though, construction is ongoing. In sport, they said they couldn't do it, but Hawthorn have defeated Richmond at the MCG, ending the Tigers' 12 months winning streak. The final score was 11-5-71 to Richmond's measly 5-9-39, with Chad Wingard kicking 3 goals, Isaac Smith and Jagger O'Meara also starring Smith, having 28 possessions, and boy am I happy with that result. But checking tomorrow's forecast now, in Brisbane it's set to get to a cloudy top of 21, Sydney 16 degrees, Canberra starting the day chilly top of 2 degrees, warming up to 11, Melbourne light rain and 13, Adelaide 14, Perth more rain 22, over in Darwin sunny and 31 degrees, Townsville 26 and cloudy, heavy rain in Bendigo 12 degrees, and rain in Hobart a top of 13. And starting from next week, we want to feature your picks during our weather report. It can be anything from a sunset to a storm. It just has to have something to do with the weather. You can DM us with those picks on all our socials, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at 6NewsAU, and we will of course give you credit. And that is 6 News for this Sunday evening. You can stay up to date on all our social media pages at 6NewsAU. If you're watching via Melfu videos, stick around because up next is Inline Plus, followed by Harmony University. I'm Leonardo Puglisi. Thanks for your company. Good night.